Yep. Okay, awesome. So it sounds like we have Amanda and Stephanie back on. So I'm so excited. Amanda and Stephanie, are you here with me?
Hi.
We're here. Awesome. I'm so glad we got you back because I know we were talking a little bit about some different things with the balloons. We showed some footage and we were just chatting a little bit with everyone who's watching. And someone mentioned that they would love to go, but they're kind of nervous about heights. And I said that because it's so calming, a lot of people really don't even have that problem, even if they normally do have a fear of heights. So what has been your experience with that?
Yeah, it's so funny. We get people who are terrified of heights all the time. And basically what we tell them is what's different about hot air ballooning is if you were like at the top of a tall building, you see that perspective of the building going all the way down to the ground. So you know how high you are. In the hot air balloon, you could be 1,000 feet in the air or 7,000 feet in the air, and you literally could not tell the difference. So as long as you're just looking out at the beautiful landscape, it's really not an issue.
And we also have a lot of people, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
And so basically what they'll do is they'll come out and they'll be kind of holding on to the side of the basket, really nervous. And then they'll say, oh, we already took off? Oh, okay, I could do this. So it happens all the time. If someone does come out and they get too scared, we obviously don't charge them for the flight. But typically once they're in that basket and getting up in the air, they're perfectly fine.
That's awesome. I mean, and it just looks so peaceful, so calming, so relaxing, and just really gentle. There's not I'm sure, a lot of sudden movements. Like I've been in a small aircraft before, and that can be frightening because of.
Oh, yeah, we've all been in one of those. Yeah, absolutely. And ballooning is so unique in that there's no steering wheel. So when you're in a plane, you're flying against that wind current. So the balloons actually float with the wind speed and direction. So it literally feels like floating. Like people have said, it's kind of like, riding on a magic carpet, if you will. It's unlike anything we've ever experienced. It is just so calm, so peaceful. The only sound that you hear while you're up in the air is when the pilot is using the burner to put some heat into the envelope. Otherwise, you can just hear the clicks of cameras, rustling of animals on the ground. It's awesome. If we weren't in ballooning, I would still love to go because it's so much fun.
Absolutely.
And the things that people can see, so they really get a bird's eye view of our beautiful desert landscape. And like I was saying before, after all of this weather, I bet the wildflowers are just amazing, and all of the creatures that are out that you get to see. What a photo op.
It's incredible. Yeah, and every day and every flight is different. And so what you see on every flight will adjust slightly. Sometimes we see coyotes, sometimes we see wild burros, sometimes you get to see Lake Pleasant or the Cardinal Stadium. So it's really, really unique. And I mean, literally you can take photos on your phone and they look like they're out of a magazine.
We were just talking about that because we were on your Instagram account, and we were always like so impressed. It's so beautiful. And you said a lot of them is just your guests taking those photos on their phones. So that is really, really amazing that people have that opportunity. And I know some people might think, oh, maybe that's not affordable, but it's actually pretty affordable, I think. And plus, what you get with it, I mean, it's a whole experience. You're also landing in the desert and then having either gourmet brunch or gourmet appetizers if it's an afternoon flight. So tell us a little bit more about the entire experience, what people will get.
Yeah, so basically what we'll do is we meet our passengers at the Deer Valley Airport, or we'll pick them up at any local hotel that they're staying at. From there, we'll take them out to our launch site, which basically they get to see everything come to life. So they watch the inflation process of the balloons. Their flight itself is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half, just kind of depending on where the winds are taking us that day and what launch sites are available and all of that good stuff. While they're up in the air, their pilot basically acts like a tour guide. So they're pointing out all of those local wildlife and the different plants and the different, basically just points out in Arizona. Once we land, we do roll out our tables in China and have that warm gourmet, either breakfast or hors d'oeuvres. It's catered from Vincent's on Camelback every day. After that, we'll have a champagne ceremony where each passenger is being presented with a flight certificate showing that they went up in the hot air balloon with us. And then we bring them back to either the Deer Valley Airport or their hotel from there. So it is a whole fun experience. It's like, we typically say about 3.5 to 4 hours from start to finish. And it's a great way to start off any day.
Oh my goodness, that is such a wonderful thing to do, I think, for any special event, because it's so memorable. This is not something you're going to forget after you've done it. This is something you're going to remember for your whole lifetime. So I definitely think you guys should certainly try this. Lupita said she's terrified of heights, but listening to you guys just made her feel better, so I hope she gets to try that. And then Artie was asking, do your ears pop up there? That's an interesting question. How high exactly do you go?
Yeah, so your ears can pop, and sometimes even like you would get in an elevator. So we go anywhere on average between 2,000 to 5,000 feet in the air, just depending on the weather conditions. But the maximum height we can go is about 7,000 feet per the FAA regulations.
Okay, cool. And so it also depends how far you go. So just depending on the day, every time is different. You might land in a totally different spot. So if any of you guys just become like avid balloonists and are out there every weekend, then you could land in a different spot each time, which is kind of cool. And we were talking with Amanda and Stephanie about the idea of following their chase crew, because they actually have a chase crew vehicle that tries to monitor where the balloons are going to land to set up the tables. So we said, wouldn't it be fun if we went live from the chase vehicle? So we're in the planning stages of that. And of course, I will let all of you guys know when we're going to do that, so you can tune in for that, because that will definitely be a lot of fun. Now in Arizona, we have the benefit of typically really excellent weather. Would you say Arizona is the best state for ballooning, or what?
I mean, we're a little biased, but yes, we would say that. What's unique about Arizona, and actually why our company was founded here, is that Arizona has the most flyable days per year of anywhere in the country. We have very calm, stable, pretty predictable weather. Of course, it's not always 100% wonderful, but 9 times out of 10, we're up in the air flying if there are safe conditions present. And the desert landscape is just so beautiful, especially if you're not from here. I feel like guests come here and they're so surprised, like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I had no idea desert could be this green and this swirl cacti. So it's a beautiful thing to experience.
All right. Well, I am so glad you had a chance to chat with us. I just have a couple questions that people piped in with. I just want to make sure I answer them if we can. Crystal wants to know, how long can a hot air balloon stay up in the air without running out of fuel?
That's a great question. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. So there's the weight of all of the passengers in the balloon. There's B, the temperature that's outside, because obviously with different temperatures, it may take more fuel to heat up the balloon and keep it standing. So typically our flights are about an hour to an hour and a half. I would say that on any given day with a full load of passengers, we could probably stay out for about probably 2.5 hours. So we always carry plenty of fuel on board for if for some reason we did have to stay up in the air a little bit longer.
Great question.
Okay. One other question, and then I'll let you guys go because I know you guys are busy. Actually, one thing I want to mention is I think it's fantastic that you guys are sisters and co-owners. So I know you have to go and do all of that business stuff. But before you go, Peter asks, where's the craziest place you've landed?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Did you ever land like in a, I don't know, right in the middle of a bunny convention?
I'm trying to think. I mean, so Obviously, we like to use our designated launching and landing areas when we can, but there are times where you do have to make landings where, you know, you literally are not getting the wind shifts and directions that you need, and you need to land the aircraft. So, I mean, we've landed in cul-de-sacs before, so it's a nice morning surprise for people.
Yeah, and we've had it happen once where our crew members had to go out and start directing traffic because we were landing close to a road. So we make sure that it is still safe. We make sure that everyone's kind of out of the way. But yes, things do happen where we have some crazy landings.
Well, and you have really experienced pilots too, so that's really something to mention. How many pilots do you have?
Yeah, so we have 6 pilots currently full-time with us, and it's really interesting about ballooning. It takes a long time to be able to fly the types of balloons that we utilize in our fleet. For example, if someone wanted to fly a 12-passenger balloon for us, not only would they, of course, have to go through the schooling, pass a test, get their commercial pilot's license, but then they also have to have at least 400 hours in order to actually fly commercially that size of aircraft. So if we can only fly once a day most time of the year, it would take 400 consecutive days in order to even be able to do that. So they are very experienced. They know what they're doing. They love what they do, and it shows. So you're definitely in great hands.
Absolutely. And one more comment I will just call out, and that's Crystal, who said she was always scared to death, but she is sold because you girls make it sound so awesome. So glad to hear that, Crystal. I expect to see you out there on a hot air balloon, and I expect you sharing your Instagram photos with all of us.
Brenna might be your crew.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a couple other questions. Jeff really wants to know who caters the food, but I know you already said it's Vincent's on Camel's Back, right?
Yeah,
Vincent's on
correct.
Okay. And I know there's some other questions in there that we didn't get to. We will type you guys the answers, and if we don't know, we'll get Amanda and Stephanie to pipe up on that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I can't wait to get in that chase vehicle and follow you guys around and see what you really do in the early morning hours. So we will let all of our viewers know about that as well. Amanda and Stephanie, have an awesome day.
Thank you, too.
Okay. All right.